We're going to try get this arm square if we can for an arm bar. If we can't get that and she goes to bring her arm back, we can look to switch into a Kimura grip. Finish from here. We've got loads of different options from here. Common reaction is she's going to roll through, or we can put on some pressure for her to roll through. We cross the legs together, and we can finish the arm bar. Alright, okay, so first step that we're going to go over is dealing with a partner who's heavy on top with a heavy cross face and an underhook here when we're getting flattened out in the half guard. So first of all, what we need to do to get any type of push on our partner on top is we need to make sure we have maximum connection around their body. So it's not just enough to try push them like this. We're going to try wrap around our partner. That way when we push into them, we've got maximum amount of surface area possible to work with. So here, it's not just enough to go here, we wrap around. I grab on to the ladder of the armpit, and then with my knees, pinch them together. I'm pushing off with my left foot here, and I'm going to reach over and turn. At the same time, my elbow is going to go in front of her knee. That's going to stop her from basing out on that knee. If I just do it here in a vacuum without any base, you can base out in your knee there as well, which isn't a problem because we can get some space for our leg to work with. But if we want to get our arm free first, it's probably best off to get rid of her knee here. So if you go to wrap around me again, she's forced to post out here. If she doesn't post out there, what's going to happen is kind of a John Wayne kind of roll where we end up on top. Okay? So once she posts out there with her knee, or with her hand, I get my frame in front, I get my hips in so I can maintain that connection so she can't crash back in towards me. And then I look to get my other frame in, and then I can get my hips back out. Okay, so just from the top, we'll just go over that one more time. So here, I get maximum connection, so I'm trying to reach my armpit across her body. So getting as much connection with my armpit as possible around hers. I then bridge in, get this as a, block this off in front of her knee. She posts, I get my frame in front, hips in. I then get my second frame in, and then that's when I can back away into whatever half guard variation that I want. So we're going to start from a situation from where we're in a neutral position. I just got two frames in, I've got my knees pinched together. This is really important now, how I learn to either offset or base forwards or backwards from here. I need to have some kind of clamp on her leg to be able to move her up or down. If I try to look for an underhook from here, and I try to pull her in, she's probably going to funnel for some kind of under grip or whizzer grip, where she can go underneath, grab my collar, or she can get me into positions like a darce. So I don't want that to happen. I want to be able to have as much control over her hips and her torso as possible. So when I'm pulling her in, I'm going to have to pinch her knee, and I lift her as such. So that clamp on her legs is really important for me to get some kind of control on lift. I can then look for an underhook from here. So I'll just go over that again. It's not enough to just pull your knees up, because then you have no control over her legs or her hips or her torso. You need to pinch first and then scoop underneath. Now you're in a much more primed position to get an underhook from here. You can then get your hips back in to get her weight back, and you can look to start off your attacks. An example of an attack from here from an underhook position is we can go for a shoulder crunch. So I'm going to clasp my hands into a gable grip. Here, I'm getting this onto my shoulder. I slide back. I can pull my bottom leg out. Top leg goes over the top, and then I just simply crunch down on the elbow. Okay? So that's just one example of something you can do from the underhook position. We'll go over all of that again. So we're clamping our knees together. We're lifting her hips up, and that's where we're getting her underhook from. Okay? We then can clasp over the top of the shoulder. We can look to get her knee underneath her chest so we have some support there. Knee over the top, and then we're pulling down on her elbow, and we can get a lock from there. Okay, so this is a situation from when they're more turned in and their hips are far back. Okay, so we can't really get any leverage for them to kind of lift them up on top of us because they're a little bit too far away. We're going to look to get our shoulder underneath so we can pinch our neck in towards it. Clasp our hands together over the top of the shoulder joint. We're going to hip escape away. That's going to allow our leg to climb over her head a little bit easier. And we're going to pinch her knees. This foot's going to try climb in and hook underneath her hip. It's going to give us an extra little bit of leverage. We're going to try get this arm square if we can for an arm bar. If we can't get that and she goes to bring her arm back, we can look to switch into a Kimura grip. Finish from here. We've got loads of different options from here. Common reaction is she's going to roll through, or we can put on some pressure for her to roll through. We cross the legs together. We can finish the arm bar from there. So we're coming from a situation where she's sitting back a little bit more. She might be a little bit more cautious. She reaches for her collar. She's trying to go for a grip on the head instead of around for an underhook or some heavy passing from here. So we've got the option of coming to a high knee shield where we're bringing our shin in front of our shoulder. We can pinch her head towards our shoulder so it keeps her hand locked in place. So if you try pull your hand back, it's going to be pretty hard. If it's slippy and no-gi, it's probably going to be a little bit easier for her to slip out, so you want to be a bit quicker on this. And the tighter you are positionally, the better. So over the top of her shoulder joint, you pull this in, that's going to lock it in place. It's going to act as a blockade. So you try pull it out now, it's going to be much harder. We can then look to hip escape away, leg comes over the top, it should slide over the top, foot comes in as a wedge, and then we can look to get the angle so on the armbar so we can get that straight on. If it's off here and we try to pull, probably won't be as tight. So we want to come over the top, get heavy pressure, and then we pull. If we can't finish the armbar from there, usually she's probably going to pull back to a Kimura position, so we want to set our arms up into a Kimura position here. Tight to her chest so we can get as much control as possible. We can rip onto a Kimura if we find that we have the angle available to us here. Or if we try pull, she's probably going to roll over the top as well. We can then finish off into an armbar position.